Hello, Northwestern Ontario. I'm Kevin Elements, and I'm sitting here with Mickey Marshall and Mike Dohan, and we're here to introduce an exciting idea that's going to be happening in late January. I'm here with Mike Dohan, and question for you, friend. What exactly is Startup Weekend?
Well, glad to be here. Startup Weekend is a 54-hour long event. It takes place over a weekend where entrepreneurs, technologists, as well as designers, they get together, they pitch ideas, and they work on new, innovative ideas involving technology throughout the weekend. It's a great place to learn how to innovate. It's a great place to learn how to network with other people. If you have that idea that you really think is a great idea, but you just can't have the time to get it, and this is a great time where you're going to isolate yourself away from the world and get that idea done and meet people that'll help you do it.
Mickey, you had an experience last year at Startup Weekend.
I did.
I believe it was in January.
Mm-hmm. It's my birthday weekend, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
So you took time away from your birthday to...
I came in second on my birthday on the Sunday.
What is Startup Weekend to you?
It was a weekend that changed my life. It was. So I went in with no expectations, really. I'm involved in a club called the NACDIS, which is a student-run or entrepreneurship club at Lakehead. And, I've always had an enthusiasm for entrepreneurship, but I didn't really do anything with it. So I had this idea, and I brought it there. I pitched it, and I worked on it all weekend. On Sunday night, I pitched it again, and I came in second. Yeah.
Wonderful.
There hasn't really been an event like this in Thunder Bay, although they're held all over the world, really. They have startup weekends, obviously, in many big and medium and smaller cities in the States, all over Canada. They even have startup weekends in Iran. Yeah, all over Europe as well, Africa.
During the same weekend too. There was during the same weekend.
Oh yeah, well I mean there's lots of overlap. Like during the weekend, I was tweeting back and forth to Startup Weekend, Grand Rapids, Michigan, which was my first Startup Weekend that I attended.
Yeah.
Interesting. And I remember a long time ago when you were introducing me to the idea, and you were talking about Grand Rapids specifically. There was, it's the States, right? They have much more capacity than we do. There's many universities around. There's a lot of businesses around. There's angel investors around. But you said something interesting earlier to me before we started the interview. This was feeling a lot like Grand Rapids?
Well, I'll tell you this, Grand Rapids and Thunder Bay, they have very different cultures. Grand Rapids has a lot of, they have a design school, right? So there's a lot of people working on their projects, and they're very publicly showcased. There's lots of different educational institutions there. There's lots of different. There's more of a entrepreneurship scene when it comes to tech and design and things like that. In Thunder Bay, I mean, there are the people. I don't want to say that there's not, but there is. But the Startup Weekend that I attended, which was 1 year before Startup Weekend Thunder Bay. What I saw there, what I experienced was exactly what Mickey said. People just concentrating on their ideas, and they're eating and they're networking, and they're just stuck on this idea for 54 hours, and then what they come out with is something something finished and complete in what they own. I didn't know what to expect because it was the first Startup Weekend Thunder Bay would have seen. Not a lot of people knew about the concept of Startup Weekend. So I before the event, I pushed and pitched it to through a lot of personal connections and whatever media I could. And what I saw was exactly like I saw in both Grand Rapids and Minneapolis, another one that I attended, was people getting together, and they were just working on these ideas, and they were engaged. They were just as engaged as they were in any other ones that I've attended. And that I remember thinking, like, wow, it worked.
Yeah.
Like I just didn't know what to expect, right? I mean, I knew people would love it if they got it, and then they got it and they loved it.
Well-
right? Not everyone. It's not an event for everybody.
Sure.
Right? You get some attrition, but the people who stuck around, they loved it, and many of them have bought tickets already to attend the upcoming startup weekend, which is January 22nd to 24th, coming up this January. And yeah, I think right there, that's a good measure about how much people love this event.
But the interesting thing that resonates with me right now is that I've worked in the IT industry with you. I'm just meeting you, which is awesome, for over 25 years, which still ceases to amaze me that we're still doing this and plugging forward. And there's always been a capacity issue, I think, in Thunder Bay. I felt myself that maybe there's a lot of talent out there, but we didn't have a way to organize the people. And as the builders and the makers and the hackers, sometimes you're so busy making things that you don't really have the business acumen to get all of the types of people. So, Mickey, did you feel like you met the right people?
Absolutely. There was, there's people with business backgrounds. There's people with technology backgrounds. There's people with development background. There's people from all aspects of business, and that was interesting because I was in university last year, and I didn't have an opportunity to meet these kinds of people, and so this was hugely a networking experience for me as well. And it's really changed my life. Now I work in technology. I got a job out of this weekend specifically. So it has really changed my life. This has been a good year because of Startup Weekend. And I can only say it's because of Startup Weekend.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I did want to ask Mike, are there any bad ideas? Like, it sounds to me on the surface that this might be tech focused, but can we assume that anyone with a different kind of idea can participate?
Well, that's one of the preconceptions that people have. You have to be a technologist or a designer or someone like that, a software developer, or even an engineer to participate. That's absolutely not the case. We want those people, but we also want the people with the ideas and the business and the kind of the industry knowledge, and the ideas that we mash them together, get them exchanging ideas and working on ideas, then that's when you get the really great outcomes, right? You take those people that work in tech, and kind of isolate themselves from other ideas, which is fine, but one weekend a year, you get together with those people. It really expands your mind. And I'll tell you about going back to is there a bad idea? There's really not a bad idea to pitch at this event. Not all ideas make it through the gate, though. The format of the event happens like this. On the Friday, everyone kind of mingles and has a symposium, and they chat. And then once we get started, there's a mini pitch competition. So if you buy a ticket, you get an opportunity to pitch for 1 minute. Okay.
A hard minute. They cut you
yeah,
off. They start clapping at 60
strict.
seconds.
Yeah, it's very strict.
Very
You
strict,
get the buzzer,
yeah.
and then they, in Grand Rapids, the guy actually yanks the mic away from
So
you.
it's like the cane coming
Yeah,
down
yeah,
stage
yeah,
and pulling
yeah.
you off.
So you get 1 minute, very strict, right? Because
So-
you have to get through many, and not everyone pitches, but I think we had about a third to a half.
So if you want to pitch, be
you wanna
ready.
pitch.
Be
If-
ready for that 1 minute.
Be
Like,
ready.
practice
Ready for
your
that one.
pitch.
Exactly. So you get that 1 minute pitch, and then after everyone's done pitching, after everyone's had an opportunity, everybody gets to vote on the pitches that they want to see developed throughout the weekend. So you get however many votes. I think you get 3 votes, and you can spread them around, or put them all in one, or put them all on your own, or whatever, right? So then when when all the voting's done, about a third to a half of the ideas that have the lowest amount of votes, they get cut out, right? And the people who get their ideas past that Friday, they have to form teams with everybody that's left. They have to go around and say, hey, who wants to work on my my idea, right?
So here's
and
a
they form
question.
the team, and Mickey's got past the Friday, and then obviously, well, I'll let her tell about the Sunday.
Sorry to interrupt, but
Yeah.
I just want to say at that point, is there any is there any issues with people having bad feelings about the fact that their idea didn't make it?
I not in my experience.
Okay.
I mean, some people, they go and they pitch their idea and they leave.
Uh-huh.
Right? They buy a ticket and then that's their goal for the weekend, is to get their idea through, right? And then if it doesn't happen, they leave. Now, I know one person who, when I was attending a startup weekend, they were dead set on working on their idea, right? So they went there and they networked with people while they were there. They didn't join a team. Their idea didn't make it, but they were fairly dead set on it. They networked with some people and they met some people that would help them on their idea after the fact, right? And then they left. Right. And then, so it's not just a place where, it's not just an event where you work on whatever idea, right? And sometimes, I mean, the thing is, you're supposed to pitch an idea that you haven't worked on it yet. So
Okay.
if you're working on something, you don't go to Startup Weekend to say, hey, let's work on my idea that I've been working on. Right?
Free labor.
Yeah,
It's not the point, right?
Yeah, it's not the point, right? The idea is supposed to be fresh, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're supposed to give it some thought, but not have done any work on it, right? So, but yeah, anyways, people use Startup Weekend for many different reasons.
So on the first night, the pitch happens.
Yeah.
And then at what time do you guys conclude the ceremonies, if you will, of presenting the teams? What time?
Well, it's all different. Usually, well, we I think we're starting at 4:30 this year. Well, what we do, I guess, is after everyone's done pitching and forming teams, you may do some kind of preliminary work.
That's day one, and I do want to turn the mic over to you, Mickey. What was your experience on day two when the manufacturing starts to happen?
Yeah, so it was a little daunting because now I have a round table full of people looking at me and they say, okay, now what? And it was an idea. It grew from a school project. I needed to create an online business, and actually in Mike's class, he's my prof last year. So I had this idea and I sat down and I'm like, okay, let's make this a business. Let's figure out what we can do. And it was a lot of brainstorming, and there was charts and there's paper and the whole table was just full of markers, and we're all just trying to figure out how to make this a better idea. And I had everyone from a aviation student to someone who runs his own technology app development company in town, to his daughter who is 13 maybe. So I had a wide range of people with different skill sets. And at the end of the day, we came up with a great product, and we've launched in June, and I went live with it in the fall, and it's doing really well because of Startup Weekend.
Did you, I'm not entirely clear on the story, but I know you took it elsewhere in the world. You went farther with Startup Weekend and your idea. Am I correct?
I went to Singapore for an exchange. Is that what you're talking about?
Did you take the idea to another idea challenge, or
No.
Toronto? Did you show it off somewhere in another
Yes,
city?
I went to Toronto for Discovery 2015. It's a trade show where you go and showcase your idea. And I did pitch it there as well. Maybe that's what you're talking about. So yeah, I pitched it there, and I ended up winning a $500 gift card, Visa prepaid gift card. So,
And that was after Startup Weekend?
That was after Startup
Okay.
Weekend. So once it was...
It was after you won Startup Weekend.
After I won Startup Weekend, it was an app. I had finished it. My plane left at 3 o'clock. I finished the app at 1 o'clock that day. So we got on an airplane and we went down to Discovery 2015. And then we... so I showcased it to students, to other entrepreneurs. They loved the idea and got lots of downloads from it that weekend, and entered a pitch competition, and I won.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I do want to bring it back to this idea that it's, people getting together with people, building a community around, and I'm starting to really understand that technology is something that's important to the essence of the idea. No ideas are bad ones, but when you want to do a pitch for this, incorporate technology in some way, and that could be an app, it could be a website, it could be a point of sale system, it could be a way to...
A new thing.
A new thing. Yeah, using technology.
Yeah.
Now, what's cool is that it's being held at Waverly.
Waverly Resource Library, January 22nd to 24th.
And is there something important happening at Waverly?
Yes, there is actually. We have Scott Dougal coming to give a talk. Scott Dougal's homegrown. He's from Thunder Bay, and he works for Google.
Mm-hmm. And at Waverly Library now, this is a little plug for our community economic development partners.
Mm-hmm.
There's something happening at Waverly Library right now. There's a new lab.
Yes, I believe. Well, the Homebase is now relocated there. They've been there for a while there. I think they're very happy. Homebase is a hackerspace. I've been there a couple times, but I'm not a hardware-y type person.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I knew they do have capability for 3D printing, and
Mm-hmm.
they do all sorts of stuff there. I know they have Tear Down Tuesday, where they just take something and they take it apart to see how it works. So that's starting to be a hub of a lot of innovation around the city, and they want to go further. Waverly, I find they're very progressive there. Not just what they've done so far with Waverly, but what they want to do. They want to, I guess, turn into a makerspace.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not clear on the definitions. I'm
Sure.
more of a software guy, right? But they're doing quite a bit down there.
Yeah, so the way I understand it, and I do want to clarify for the listener that the word hacker is often misused and misquoted to paint a picture of a computer user who tries to break into. It's not true at all. And just for clarity, and I try to enforce this with my students, is that hacking is actually just simply the process of making things using technology. And it's a word that even people like Steve Jobs and Bill Gates would, I don't want to put words in their mouth, but they've always, used the word hacking as a way to work together as teams of people to make exciting new products. And let's be honest,
the new term growth hacker, which you see, it's not, it doesn't have a negative connotation. It's people who do things, reconfigure things to make business, to grow business. Right. So when you say hackerspace or hackathon or hacker, it's a different connotation than it did, say, when, in the 90s when the movie Hackers was out, right? So.
Where they tried to break into computers and skulls flew at them. And
Zero cool, right?
Zero cool.
Yeah.
So when you left on the third day, did you feel like you had grown your community of hackers or technologists that could help you?
Yes, absolutely. And now that I'm in the entrepreneurship community, it really is a community. I'm involved in Shift now. They always have these events, and I go to them, and it's always kind of the same people, and it's really nice to see an entrepreneurship community in Thunder Bay.
What is Shift?
Shift? Oh, I don't actually know.
It's the
definition.
Young professional.
Young professionals.
Yeah, young professional
association.
network.
You have to be under 40 to be a member of Shift, and they have wine events. Just this past week, they had a wine event where you go and you just network and drink wine and meet new people. And they have the Nova Awards in January, which I was nominated for Hardcover Hookup. So yeah, they do good things for the.
I just realized something.
Yes.
You just used the name of a product that we haven't even talked about yet. You call it Hardcover Hookups?
Hardcover Hookup.
Tell us about your app.
So Hardcover Hookup was born at Startup Weekend last January, and it is a textbook exchange platform designed to help students find and sell textbooks locally. So I liken it to Tinder for textbooks, because you can actually find a textbook and see how far away in kilometers it is away from you. So it's really easy to use. If you're selling textbooks online through, let's say, Amazon or Kijiji, you have to take a picture of the book. You have to write a description, find the ISBN number. So my app eliminates all of that. You just scan the barcode. All the information pops up, the picture, ISBN, the description, anything. You just need to do two things. Type in the price of the book and the condition of the book, and then anyone in your local area can search for it.
Yeah, that's a fantastic idea. And as a professor at Confederation College, I know students can spend hundreds and thousands of dollars on textbooks,
Yes.
buying them brand new, but your software promises that these people could save money in a fast and convenient way to get,
Yes.
you know, down to work and learn
Yeah.
You're
cheaper and faster.
eliminating shipping too when the
Exactly.
match is
So,
made.
you know, there's that eco-friendly
Mhm.
side of it as well.
So have you had any textbooks meet each other on your Tinder and make little baby textbooks?
Yes, that's an interesting way of putting it. Yes, I have. So my target market, or my how do you say that? My initial, what is it? Test market? Is that how you say that? So my test market was
Users.
Manitoba and Northwestern Ontario. So I went down to the University of Manitoba and University of Winnipeg, and you know, had my pop-up, and I had a little booth set up for orientation week and for Frosh week. We got 30 seconds on stage for this before a band played. We threw out T-shirts and, you know, got apps. There was a lot of people downloaded the app that day. So, you know, it's been great. You know, I went down with a number in mind, that how many users I wanted, and I almost doubled it. So I'm happy about that.
Incredible story.
Yeah.
So if somebody was thinking about participating in Startup Weekend and they were on the fence, what advice could you give them?
Just do it.
Just
do it. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, great things happen when you step out of your comfort zone. Not necessarily, I'm not a tech person, and it was intimidating to go to, but I was involved in a student-based entrepreneurship club at Lakehead. And I thought, well, you know what, I'll go. Why not? What's the worst that can happen? So I went, and it has changed my life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the thing that I think is fascinating after 25 years of experience, and I've ran some businesses, I've made mistakes. I'm a firm believer in the idea of celebrating success as much as you celebrate failure.
Mm-hmm.
That's not my quote. I heard that years ago when the Good Fine folks from Waterloo came up, and they were teaching us in Thunder Bay how they set up a tech incubator. And they would sit down at a not-for-profit board with a group of like-minded technologists, and a small company popped out of the top called Research in Motion, and they sold billions of dollars in BlackBerries. But until they got themselves together, open-minded, not fearful of competition, that would have never happened. And it's simply putting people in a room, building capacity around ideas that some people might think it's a bad idea. But I think when you get together in a community of people, then you have an opportunity to vet the idea or talk to other people about the idea, and then new ideas might emerge. And if you truly embrace the idea of celebrating success as much as you celebrate failure, then really there's no such thing as a bad idea. Before we conclude here, Mike, is there anything that I'm missing about the event that you really need to express to the listener?
Well, I think it's a great event. I've attended twice, and I'm sold on it personally. I think it's a great thing for Thunder Bay and the growing startup ecosystem, or growing entrepreneurship ecosystem, and I think we can really. I think it's good for the community as well. If we get these homegrown technologies that make it big, then you know, it should ignite pride in anybody from Thunder
There's
Bay.
that
to do
word.
that.
Yeah, a word I love so much.
Just as well, just I guess the details. Again, I'll repeat them. Startup Weekend Thunder Bay will be at Waverley Resource Library from January 22nd to 24th. 2016. Tickets are $35 for students and $50 for non-students, and that's the early bird prices.
Cheap.
Early bird prices are still on until December 18th, and then after that it goes up to $50 and $75. It's a great event.
Great
You
Christmas
get
present.
fed. Yes, great Christmas present. You also get fed. So even if you don't catch the early bird prices, $75 to get fed all weekend, to meet great people, have fun. It's priceless.
Yeah.
It really is.
Now, as a up-and-coming entrepreneur and somebody who I have a lot of respect for what you're doing right now,
Thank you.
having been through it over 25 years myself, any pearls of wisdom that you want to share with the listener?
I would say just have an open mind. My company, it has blossomed, and it has changed significantly from even the Friday night to the Sunday at 2 o'clock when, with the buzzer, they cut us off. It changed. And a huge part of that was because of my teammates. So have an open mind and go in with no expectations. Go in, have fun, see what happens, meet some people, shake a few hands, be open. Yeah.
Awesome. I mean, my pearl of wisdom that I'd like to share with the listener is just the idea that if Canadians could just make more things. A perfect example, a gentleman in Europe decided to make a little video game, and it was his own dream, and it was an interesting idea, and it probably wasn't going to go anywhere, but he sat down at a computer and he wrote some code. And he released it when it was in its alpha state for $5. I remember getting it in beta from a friend of mine as a gift for $10, and now it's for sale for $27 at a small website called Minecraft.net. Now, Notch had no idea he built it simply for the love of being entrepreneurial and a visionary and a builder and a maker and a hacker. And he sold it to Microsoft for $2.5 billion. Now, if Thunder Bay could make 1, 2, 10 Minecrafts a year, and the only way we have to sell it is on the internet, we don't need trucks and trains and planes to deliver it anywhere. We just put it onto the internet. Maybe there's a 17-year-old person right now who's got the vision of someone like Notch who made Minecraft who could bring something to market. But there's only one way to find out, right? We got to put our ideas on the table,
Well,
get the
that's it,
teams
yeah.
together, and build them.
I mean,
out.
that's part of it. I mean, Friday night, you're right off the bat sharing your idea,
Yeah.
right? You're sharing it with people you don't know, and it's a little nervous, but I mean, there are a lot of successful companies that do come out of Startup Weekend around the world.
So an event like this, Mike, doesn't create itself. There's obviously some people out there in
Yes.
Northwestern Ontario that have worked really hard to bring this thing to fruition, offering sponsorship. Is there any groups that
We're really grateful for our sponsors. They really make the event happen. So the signature sponsors, PI, Partners in Innovation and Entrepreneurship. This is a partnership between Lakehead University, Confederation College, and the Northwestern Ontario Innovation Centre, and their focus is to conduct entrepreneurial activities on campus. So these types of events where you get people together interested in innovation and entrepreneurship, talking about it, and also providing support for people who want to take their idea further. So this Startup Weekend Thunder Bay fits in with their mission. As well, Ontario Centres of Excellence and the One Network, Ontario Network of Entrepreneurs, they've sponsored. The Northwestern Ontario Innovation Centre itself, they do 99% of the heavy lifting, the logistics of getting the event happening. They're and they're great hard workers, and they are key to getting this event happening. The Lakehead University Faculty of Business Administration, so the business school of the university, Peril, T-Bay Tel, as well as the Thunder Bay Community Economic Development Corporation, Thunder Bay Public Libraries is sponsoring the event in kind by providing the space at Waverley Resource Library. And also need to mention that we are bringing a speaker in before the event, Scott Dougal, who's Thunder Bay born and bred, who now works at Google in the Silicon Valley. Is coming by, and he's going to host an event, and the event will lead into ours. So we have a lot of local, provincial sponsors who help us make this event possible. And I know I'm missing one or two. I know Dougal Media is they are they're key in helping us promote this event as well. So, and to anyone else that we're missing their sponsorship, then we'll provide the links down below and logos and everything like that.
Wonderful. So it's fascinating to me. You mentioned, it must be about 10 or 12 agencies and people in northwestern Ontario that have been working so hard.
You know what? There's really right now is a really great time in Thunder Bay and the region to do something like this, to have to develop your idea. There's just so much support out there. There's a lot of people who also want to see this happen, want to change the region to have more of a culture of innovation and entrepreneurship. And I think that it's just people pushing with these events, and you're seeing how much support we are getting, how many people love this event that they attend. We're just seeing that this is. I think we're striking a nerve, and we're making something happen that people want to see happen here, and that's really the best satisfaction to see when you're. To see with this event is to see how much people love it and how much people want to see this happen.
Yeah, and a really interesting story that just popped up in my mind, and I do like the idea of revisiting these stories that have happened in Thunder Bay in the past. So Scott Dougal launched a company many years ago at the NOTC, which was at the time the Northern Ontario Technology Centre. I believe the name of the company was Skystream.
Well, it was Jetstream before that, and it was I want to say it was around before the NOTC was
Absolutely.
around. The NOTC, the precursor to the NOIC, the Northwestern Ontario Innovation Centre.
Yeah, and he met up with, I hope my facts are straight, but Scott Dougal, as a champion of innovation and technology in Northwestern Ontario, met up with another group down in Silicon Valley, down in the United States. And it was interesting because it was a push video technology, I believe he was working on, and our pull video technology, but Jetstream did the pull and he did the push, or vice versa. And they met up, and that brought his IP down to the United States, which then he's now with Google.
Scott Dougal is now works at Google in Silicon Valley. So he's went from developing a really innovative technology, I believe it involves satellites as well, really innovative technology here, brought it to Silicon Valley. And all the time, hats off to Scott, because when that company was down there, he wanted to keep the developers up here. I mean, the Dougal family, they have a great sense of community like
Absolutely.
that too, right? So he kept it up here for years. We both know several people who worked at that company.
Well, I had 55.coms that we worked on together on a server that was actually at Dougal
There you
Media
go.
on one of the only internet pipes that was available
Yeah.
at the time, which launched our career when we were coming up in our
Oh,
late
for sure,
20s.
for sure.
It's a pretty incredible story. And to remember not only where we came from, but the fact that he's returning to us now from probably the biggest IT company in the world to share his rich set of experiences.
Yeah,
So
he
that-
was very happy to do it too. So we're thankful for that.
It's inspiring as a young entrepreneur to hear such a success story. It really does. It makes me excited.
Yeah, and at the helm of the NOIC now is a person that helped Scott to get to the top, literally, of the NOTC building, is Judy Sonder, and how she's worked so hard and tirelessly over the last 20 years to help us to have the foundation that we need now to build these businesses when it comes time to find your angel investors and
Absolutely.
actually bring yourself to market. These are rich times.
He actually hired me for my first job out of Confederation College after I graduated from the computer programmer analyst program in 2000.
And we need to celebrate what that family has done,
Absolutely.
for technology in
Yeah.
Northwestern Ontario.
And this is part of it. I mean, even that alone is just a great draw. He'll be I don't want to say keynote speaker. I think his event is a sub event that's connected along with Startup Weekend.
Right.
And it's also held at the Waverly Resource Library the Friday. So the Friday of the Startup Weekend. And it's held, I'm not sure the time, but it's held just before we open up at 4:30.
But as we get more and more information, the links
Yeah,
down below
absolutely.
this video will
It'll
clarify
be
all the
updated.
schedules.
StartupTBay.com, Facebook group, Startup Weekend Thunder Bay. SW Thunder Bay on Twitter, the account as well as the hashtag. And, yeah, so I mean, you'll see our flyers and advertisements around the university, college, and elsewhere in the city as well. So I mean, the information's it'll definitely be out there. But
Awesome.
startuptbay.com is where everything is
Okay.
going to be held. So.
Mickey, before the interview, you were talking about workshops. Is there anything that you wanted to mention about these workshops?
So, some people might not come because they don't necessarily know how to give a pitch, or they wouldn't know what to do after the event. So there are workshops that were available last year that are going to be available this year as well. Judy Saunders from the Innovation Center, she will be coming to do sort of how to get funding afterwards. So that you wake up on the Monday feeling like $1 million, but now what? So the Innovation Center is there to help you with the funding. So they'll be there giving a workshop and how to give a proper pitch, and the business model canvas, so how to make a business plan. So all of those will be held throughout the weekend.
I think those events are a pretty important part of the startup weekend as well. I mean, they're really meant to shape how you think about entrepreneurship and innovation. Sure. The business model canvas is a popular method that entrepreneurs use to just quickly draw their business strategy. So they link everything from the customers to your suppliers, and they talk about the value proposition and essentially in 9 elements. A business strategy in 9 elements, just on one sheet. As well, your idea, you may not win Startup Weekend, you may not get the prize there, but you still have your technology, right? You're still part of the team. And Judy Sander, the manager at the Northwestern Ontario Innovation Center, she'll be there to tell you what supports are available after Startup Weekend to keep your idea going. And that's important as well, because I mean, really the innovation happens, or the fruits of the innovation are in what you develop and what you get out of the Startup Weekend.
And I mean, there is this, I just want to reinforce what's happening between Lakehead University and Confederation College. There's now a conduit between the two, between what I would refer to as a vocational college and an academic house of philosophy. So we're tying the two together with this group called PI.
Right. Actually, it's Partners in Innovation and Entrepreneurship, and it's tying together not only Lakehead University and Confederation College, but the Northwestern Ontario Innovation Center.
Sure.
And the mission of PI, if you will, is to conduct entrepreneurial activities on campus.
Sure.
It's to provide support for students if they're working on an idea during their studies. Yep. It's to showcase ideas that have our successes. Is to encourage entrepreneurship on campus. It's to let people know that this is probably a viable career opportunity if you have a really good idea, and it's to provide support and even just the cultural aspect of students, just to get students thinking about that and meeting on ideas and being more innovative generally.
Yep, and supports, obviously.
And supports.
There's, I think, a person that we should keep in mind who's keeping PI going is Allison McKay.
Allison McKay.
Who could support any, innovative ideas that students are having, professors themselves are having.
If you're a student of Lakehead University or Confederation College, then and you have an idea that you think could turn into a business or an innovation of sorts, Allison McKay is the one to see, and she floats between the two campuses.
Amazing. That's brand new. That's a brand new relationship that we have to really, be proud of. That's happening right now, and that's of course the OCE, the Ontario Centres of Excellence.
Yeah, they support this this partnership
and many others. I would like to thank everyone for watching. There are going to be links provided down below. We are looking forward to any of your thoughts, comments. Put them down below, and we'll do our best to get your questions answered in a timely manner. Thank you very much for your time.